All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Living the Dream podcast. Today on the show we have SF Banks. SF, how you doing, man?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Tim?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for asking. And we like to jump right in. So if you could start with just telling us a little bit about yourself, some of the things you like to do for fun, that'd be great.
For fun. Oh man. All right. So originally from Seattle, Washington. So I love the water. So I love to fish. I love to sail. Came down to Georgia and became a country boy, man. So I like to hunt. Man, spend time with my family. Work out, like to read. I mean, anything that's fun, man. I'm pretty much down to do it. I love games. I love playing video games when I had a time. I don't have as much time as I used to, but I like that. And yeah, man, just anything that's fun, man. I'm down with it.
Love that, love that. What's your favorite video game?
Man, okay, so I'm gonna have to go back. My favorite game would be like the Uncharted series, like for real, for real. So when I found out they were coming out with the movie, I was all in. So I'm like, okay, so now I want to like go back and play the games and then be able to watch the movie. But Uncharted with Drake was great. Yeah,
I feel that. Love it.
yeah,
I don't think I ever played Uncharted, but
yeah. It's good. It's an adventure game. I'm all about adventure games. And it just kept me going, man. It was never a dull moment, and I wish they would come out with another one. But I don't know if they're gonna do that now. They're doing a movie, but I love the game though.
feel that. Love it. Well, tell us a little bit more about what you do.
I'm in youth development, so it was where I've been for the last 20 years. So I started with the self-defense program that I'm Defense self-defense program for women and children. And then from there, I went to Camp Warrior King, which is a summer camp designed to expose kids to activities they normally wouldn't experience during the school year. And from there, then went to You Can Have It All youth conferences to give kids exposure and get them going after their dreams. And You Can Have It All magazine and the Team Hott SAWCE motivational characters, Team Hott SAWCE success stacks. I've been written a few books, so I keep myself busy. But what I do primarily focuses around youth development.
Gotcha, gotcha. And is your main project You Can Have It All, or are there a couple things kind of in the fire right now?
Well, the thing we're really excited about right now is You Can Have It All magazine and the Team Hott SAWCE success stacks, which is really the Team Hott SAWCE brand, which is the magazine is an international magazine because I believe that motivation is an international language, and the younger we can, if we get to the kids at a younger age, we can get them motivated and believe in themselves. And the idea is that they'll be able to do more and produce more as they go through life. So the magazine and the stacks, which builds a child's self-efficacy, their belief in what they're able to do, is what we're focused on right now. That's the exciting projects right now.
Gotcha, gotcha. And so
Yeah,
when you say stacks, what exactly are you
yeah.
talking about?
So when I say stacks, we're talking about, so essentially when you think of like a flashcard, right? So there are cards with words and phrases on them that get kids believing in themselves. So for example, you have the word perseverance, and the word perseverance will have the definition, right? To push through, right? To never give up, so to speak. And then it'll have a definition on that card. I can persevere. I persevered through, a hard day at school or whatever. And the idea is to get the kids to use those words and phrases in their everyday vernacular. By using those words in their everyday talking, pretty much, it builds their self-efficacy, their belief that they can do it, because now they're speaking out, more powerful words, and words are seeds. So, as you start to speak words, man, those things come to life. You say, hey, I can do this, and you start speaking those words, you'll start to see it come to life.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I love that. I love
Yeah,
that.
man.
Tell us a little bit more
Yeah.
about your motivation and kind of what got you into it and what gets you up and keeps you going every day.
My motivation, the thing that got me into motivation as a young kid was my mom. Actually, when I was a little boy, she used to, she would walk me to school, and we would walk past a car dealership, and it had all these fancy cars in glass. So you mean like Ferraris and old school Bentleys. This is back in like the late '80s, early '90s, right? So there's all these like really cool cars, and so my mom would always tell me, you can have whatever you want, and that dreaming was 50% of it, and the other half was hard work and effort. And then she started a house cleaning service, and it was a lot of hard work. But what happened from that is that we would go and clean all of these, wealthy people's homes, right? People that had this back in the '80s and had like swimming pools in their basement, like inside their house, right? And elevators and all this cool stuff. And so by cleaning these houses, I was able to see how other people lived. And then the people that we would clean the houses for, even though we were cleaning their houses, they were the kind of people that would always say, hey, you can have this too. Hey, you like this? You like this pool? Yeah, I love the pool, man. You can have one of these yourself. And so it was really cool for a little kid coming from the hood to see people that were living like this, and then they weren't stingy, mean people, right? They were like loving people, like, hey, you could do this too. And so that's what built the dream, and that's how I got into motivation. Um, it really kicked off when I was about 19, and I really started getting into it heavily, and as far as personal development, and really believed in what it is that I was doing, and just started building businesses from that, and then started helping people out, in the same beliefs.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And so, how young were you when you were going over to these people's homes and seeing how they were living?
Man, so my mom started her cleaning service. I was maybe 6 or 7 years old when I started seeing that. And you would go from one house to the next. And so my job was to pretty much vacuum the floor. So I would go to school, and then after school, then I would, come home, and mom would say, man, I have one more house I gotta do right in the afternoon. And so I would go with her. She started doing commercial buildings. And so I would go and I would actually clean in like these law firms. Now it's one of the things that inspired me to want to, go to law school was, going into these law firms and seeing all these cool law firms and vacuuming the floors and taking out the trash. The things I used to do, and then on the weekends and stuff like that. But I was really young when all that started, and we did that until I was, let's see here, about 12 or 13. And so, for 7 or 8 years, just cleaning those houses. By that time, the dream was in me.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I love that. I love
yeah,
that.
man. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Now we're going to jump into your dreams and goals. Tell us a little bit about your vision for Team Hot Sauce brand, and you can have it all.
Well, for the Team Hot Sauce brand, wow, man. I mean, there's so much that we want to do with that. The first is getting it where kids around the world can see the brand and get motivated from it, right? So ultimately we want kids around the world to be able to see a character and relate that character with motivation, with something positive, and want to be able to learn from those characters. So we want the characters to be in multiple languages, right? So that they can be able to understand it in their in their native tongue, whatever that is. And of course, that involves animation and comics and books, children's books and merchandise, and those are all the things that we want to do, to be able to build the brand and to get kids motivated and and dreaming bigger. With You Can Have It All, it's pretty much the same thing. They go hand in hand. You Can Have It All magazine, I mean, it's an international magazine, so we want that. And anywhere where they speak a language, our goal is to have the magazine there where kids can be motivated, because a magazine is about kids being motivated by other children, right? As opposed to an adult saying, hey, you can do it. It's different when a kid sees, if a kid is 13 or 12 years old, they see another 12-year-old doing something great. They say, oh man, well, that kid may not be any different from me. Hey, I can do it too. I like to run track. I like to play basketball. I like to, play an instrument. And so we want those kids to be motivated all over the world by other children from around the world.
I love that. I love that. And so with the You Can Have It All magazine, is it like primarily featuring other kids that you guys have like worked with, or how does that work?
Both. So it's featuring kids that we've worked with in the past. It's also featuring kids that we haven't necessarily worked with. Like, one of the things we really want to do is get kids in the magazine from different places around the world that are just doing cool stuff, right? I mean, you have people all over that are exceptional. A lot of times, especially in the United States, we're kind of pigeonholed to just the kids in the U.S., right? Because that's all we really see. But there are kids all over the world that are doing great things, and people, like just people that are doing really cool things. In our upcoming issue, we have a really great interview with the gentleman coming out of Canada, that's doing some really awesome stuff around the world. As a matter of fact, one of his inventions is in the Smithsonian. And so those are the kinds of things that we want kids to see. And the gentleman has a pretty unique story. He wasn't always this, you know, Fortune 500, like, stock market traded company CEO, right? He had a different kind of past. So that's the kind of motivation we want the kids to see, that anybody can become anything they want to become, regardless of where you start.
I love that. I love that. Tell us more about the Team Hot Sauce brand. You mentioned characters and
Yeah,
animations, and so tell us
yeah,
about that.
yeah. So Team Hot Sauce, so you have several characters. You have Broccoli, you have Karate, you have Uncle Hot, Egg Too Young, you have Uncle Stinker, You have Sergeant, you have Bamboos, all these characters, and they're all centered around motivation, about getting kids to go after their dreams. And the premise behind it is that Uncle Hot, which I actually created after my actual uncle, my uncle Virgil. Uh, as a kid, he used to put hot sauce on everything, and so he used to call him Uncle Hot or Uncle Hot Sauce, and so that's where it came from. And he was a super. Well, he's still alive. He's a super cool guy. Growing up, he was super cool, like a larger than life personality. And so Team Hot Sauce is created around that. And so what happens is that he has invented this hot sauce brand that just blew up around the world. And so because of that, he becomes like this rich uncle, and he takes the kids, which are like his nieces and nephews, which is weird because they're all kinds of different vegetables, right? Like broccoli is a broccoli, right? Karate is a carrot. But he takes them all around the galaxy doing different cool things for people, going on different adventures, saving things, saving people. And that's what it's about. And so in that, every story has a principle, a character building principle about helping other people, or about perseverance, or about tenacity, or focus, determination, different principles that kids should have. And so that's the premise behind it. And each character has, of course, every character has some kind of superpower, right? But with these characters, they're kids, but the kids have different abilities. For example, with Broccoli, he's real heavy into martial arts, right? But he's also a lawyer, right? Which is interesting as a kid, because kids aren't supposed to be able to, you can't go to law school as a kid, right? But the cool thing about animation is that anything is possible. And so pretty much the kids can be whatever they want to be right then. They don't have to wait, right? So you have a kid that says, oh, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be a pilot, and I want to be, a doctor. Well, they could do all those things at the same time. Well, with our characters, they can do all those things right where they are, as opposed to, having to wait to be adults. And it's all about just motivation.
Yeah, yeah, I love
Yeah,
that. And so
yeah.
the Team Hot Sauce brand is primarily like those characters and the
Mhm.
animation and everything.
Right,
So
right.
is it,
So it's also a comic. So that's the thing with, so inside of every issue of the You Can Have It All magazine is a different comic. And so the next one I have a comic, and right now what they're doing in the next one is they're working on a mission to go out of space. And Ketchup, which is a tomato, it's actually the one on my hat right here. You see him right there. That's Catch.
yeah,
And he's come up with an invention that everybody keeps thinking he's gonna forget it, because pretty much based on his appearance, they think that he's slow, kind of goofy, forgetful kind of guy, but he's really a genius, right? And so the whole idea is not judging a book by its cover, right? Just because of how somebody looks on the outside doesn't necessarily mean that's how they are. That's just perception. So they keep asking, man, did you remember it? Did you remember it? And he's like, yo, I remembered it, to the point where I forgot my lunch, right? And Brock had to buy me lunch, which is in the other episode, had to buy me lunch, but I remember like the most important thing. And so in the end, this last episode, he shows it to him. And so in the next issue, they'll be able to actually see what that is and what it's going to do as they start traveling around the galaxy, going to different planets.
love it, love it. And
Yeah,
so is
yeah.
this comic also an animation, like a TV show, or is it going to be turned into that, or primarily a comic?
Nah, we're definitely going to turn it into a TV show. Definitely turn it into like animation. Like that's definitely the trajectory and where we're going. To do it that way, just because kids can. I mean, it's coming to life, right? You could be able to see it even more. Kids can see it, actually see the movements, hear the voices, hear the characters talk. Animation definitely takes it, gets the message across a lot faster than a comic will.
Yeah,
But we always want to keep like a classic comic, just because, I mean, it's just kind of cool to be able to have one, a kid be able to read it, it's a collector's item, stuff like that.
yeah, absolutely. Love it. What caused you to really take that first step towards going all in on the You Can Have It All magazine and the Team Hot Sauce brand?
Um, it was the need, Timothy, really. It was just the need for it was like, okay, so we have the camp going on, you got the conferences, okay, what's the next step? What's the next thing to be able to spread the message around, further, around the world? How could we get it around faster? How can we get it into everybody's home? How can kids, be able to just have a more hands-on relationship, if you will, with the characters and the message and what it is that we're doing. And so that was why the magazine was important. And that's also why the characters were important. Um, and that's why we did it. It's just being able to fulfill that need. Every kid, a kid, for example, in Sri Lanka somewhere, or in Paris. I mean, how long would it take to get a conference in Paris? And every kid's not going to be able to be there. But if we can create something where it can go into their home, they can see it, then they don't have to come to a conference, right? They can be able to get that same message, those same tools, on their tablet, right, or in their phone, or have the toy in their room to accomplish that message that we want to get across a lot faster.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And just curious, I know a lot of conferences that you go to, like professionally, will
Sure.
build communities, like kind of professional communities, professional networks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does your brand and the You Can Have It All magazine
Mm-hmm.
build local communities for kids that are trying to accomplish stuff kind of in their hometown?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the whole idea. The idea is to be able to be a support to any youth that wants to do something, that are trying to do things. So, for example, we like right now we sponsor, several kids that are doing really cool things in the U.S. We have an orphanage in Uganda that we took over and pretty much run the support there, and it's all about doing those things because it's just talking about it is one thing, right? Everybody talks and says, "Hey, look, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it." It's another thing to actually say, "Hey, look, you can do it, and we'll show you how to do it, and then we'll, support you in a way that helps you get to where you want to be." I think it's kind of uh, rubber meeting the road when you actually can get involved in some kind of way, rolling your sleeves up to assist, especially youth, to get where they want to be, because a lot of times they don't have it. They don't have the direction. Hey, well, I want to do this. So that's part of what the magazine does as well, is to give them exposure to other platforms where somebody could see, hey, look, this kid has they're selling, like we have a kid that sells like shea butter, like a lotion, right? That's actually one of the kids part of our camp. And we support her, right? And bought a bunch of lotions and stuff like that to get kids believing in their product and believing in themselves. Because the thing is that they believe in what they're doing and believe in themselves, they'll make the product better, right? They'll grow it, they'll expand their brand, they'll stick with it, or they may stick with it and then go on to something else. But the whole thing is just building that. It's kind of like a brick, right? And when somebody's building something, or you're building a youth, a lot of times people want to be like, the whole house, right? Or build, but your job is to be that brick, right? That add that piece, that value to a person's life, so that when they go to the next level, then somebody else adds another brick, and that's what builds them up, right? You're just pretty much doing your part.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. That reminds me of a Will Smith quote. Uh, yeah, he talks
Yeah.
about like he focuses like how he got so successful is really
Uh-huh.
focusing on laying that one brick, because
Yeah.
that's how you build a house. So
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that.
That's true. That's true, man. Just one at a time.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
awesome.
sir. Yes, sir.
Well, if there were one or two people or one or
Mhm.
two types of people that you could meet that would really help you take the next step towards furthering the brand and the magazine, who would they be and how would they do it?
Uh, I wish. Let's see here. So John Johnson would have been one, which of course he's passed now, but that was a creator of Essence or Ebony magazine. I would have loved to have met him, just he, because of what he did, just as far as pioneering a magazine and during the times that he did it and what he had to go through. He would be the person that I would really love to be. And how would he help me? Oh man, just knowledge, man. Just man, if I could just ask him a trillion questions, just be able to ask him questions and get answers would be more than enough. I mean, of course, the connections and all that would be great, right? But I think more so than the connections that he would have would be the knowledge that he would be able to share. Hey, look out for this. I remember this time. Just being able to listen to the stories that he would tell and be able to understand what happened with that. Someone that's alive, I would like to. Oh man, Richard Bronson. Um, Virgin magazine. I mean Virgin Records. I like the fact that he again, so be such an innovator, such an out of the box thinker. I would love to be able to talk with him and be able to get some ideas from him and just be able to how he helped just a large network of things that he does, a worldwide vision, a worldwide businesses that he has, would just be great to be a part of and great to know. I can go on and on and on about people like that though. I got several. I give you two or three more. Yeah.
Hey, go for it. Go for it if you have
um
them.
oh man, somebody else I would like I I would love to talk with Elon Musk. Um, I like the idea. I like the out of the box thinking, right? Is why I would like to talk to somebody like that, and just to bounce the ideas and get their perspective or point of view. Steve Jobs would be another one that I would love to be able to wish, just to talk to and be like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I think that with all these people, how they would be able to help is their perspective on the idea, right? More so than the connections or people they can call and say, hey, I think this guy has a great idea. I think you should check that person out. All of that is cool. And of course you need that, right? It's like it's all about who you know a lot of times. But the game they would put you on, man. Like just the game. Can you imagine having them in your phone, just being able to call, like, hey, what do you think about blah, 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 blah. So that's why I read so much. That's why I read so many books, because you're just trying to find the game, trying to find those nuggets and those jewels that, is just hidden behind the words in the book.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. How do you think
Yeah.
they get to that level of out of the box thinking?
I think one of the biggest ways that they do it is not caring about what other people think about them. I think that's one. I think that is having confidence in their own idea, that regardless of what other people think, they believe it's gonna work, right? Because they put their pants on just like we do, right? They make mistakes like we do. They have shortcomings like we have. The difference between, right, us, and when I say us, you and I include us with those kinds of people, right? Just achievers and go-getters, because we're those kind of people. What makes us different than somebody else that doesn't accomplish is that we, at some point, you just stop caring what other people think. You believe in your dream enough to not stop, to never give up on creating and cultivating it, and something beautiful comes out of it. I don't think any of them knew what they were actually going to do, or exactly how it was going to look. But I think that you kind of, as you peel the layers back, not giving up, you start to see the vision more and more clearly.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I think that's a really important aspect of honestly just life in general. And I think it kind of
Yeah,
happens naturally as you get older, but the
yeah,
sooner you
man.
can tap into it. And also, you talked about that confidence in themselves a little bit. I want to ask you a follow up question about that. But the
Sure,
sooner
man.
you can tap into all that, it's fantastic. Now, for the follow
Absolutely.
up question, tell us a little bit about how belief in yourself plays into achieving your dreams and goals for you specifically and for the kids that you help motivate.
Belief in yourself is paramount. So people, and it's a daily thing, right? Just like success is progressive, it's a daily thing, it's ongoing, it never stops. Belief in yourself is progressive, it's ongoing, it never stops. Because today your confidence might be super super high, right? Oh man, I could do anything, I can conquer this, I could tackle this. And then you might have the next couple of days or several days after that where it's not as easy, where there's a lot of challenges, and your self-confidence kind of wanes, or goes down. And it it is paramount to have high self-confidence, to have that belief, which is why reading books and listening to positive information is so important, because that's how you're able to keep your self-esteem up. With youth, with young adults, it's the exact same thing. Kids nowadays are dealing with so much, a lot more than what we had to deal with, as far as the effects and impacts of social media, the impacts of COVID, right, with just being isolated away from people, not having that socialization, you know um, bullying at schools, I mean, has just, it's interesting. It's interesting what they call bullying, and then secondly, it's interesting that it happens so much. But all those things affect the child's self-confidence, and so many kids nowadays are looking to please their friends. They want to fit in so much, as opposed to wanting to stand out and being okay with being unique and being themselves. And so part of what we're doing with the kids is saying, hey, look, man, you know uniqueness is the key. It is great to be you. There's only one of you, right? There's how many billion sperm came out and you actually made it, right? You are the one. You're special just because of that. The greatest odds you had to beat, you already did before you were even born. Everything else is just you walking out who you are and being okay with somebody saying you're weird, you're this, you're that. I've been called all those things, right? And I remember it, and I didn't like it, but at some point it was like, man, you get cool with you. and being comfortable with you. And that makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the most important one or two things that everyday people can do to help you accomplish, furthering the brand, furthering the magazine?
What that they can do for us as
Yeah,
far as
to help
furthering
you
the brand.
guys.
Tell people about it. The biggest thing is tell people about it. Tell people about the fact that hey man, I listened to a podcast with a guy talking about youth development, talking about development products for kids, and people need to check it out. That's the biggest thing, is let them know that we're here. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I've been in youth development for over 20 years. I've seen what works and what doesn't. And what we do, it speaks for itself. If you look at our camps, you look at our conferences, the testimonials, it speaks for itself. My thing is let people know, let them know we're here, let them know we got things to be able to help their kids, to give them the edge in life, right? Everybody wants their kids to be their version of great, their child's version of great. Everybody don't want their kid to be Michael Jordan. They want them to be their own Michael Jordan, right? Be great in themselves. And we got things that can help them do that. So spread the word.
Absolutely. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, now we're going to jump into our thriving three.
All right.
And so the first question is, what's your favorite book, movie, or podcast? Pick one.
My favorite book is The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. It's a life-changing book.
I love it. I was thinking about that book as I was listening to you talk.
Yeah. yeah. The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz, man. He actually was a professor at Georgia State. I didn't even know that. But yeah, that book is life-changing. And the chapter 2 I really like, which is excuse-itis, and just not allowing excuses from yourself, is something that anybody that's a go-getter needs to read. And then, of course, there's other books I can go on. I mean, there's, all the great ones, right? We can go down the list, but The Magic of Thinking Big is one that, was one that really changed my life.
Love it. What's one way you like to care for yourself?
I like to work out. The way I like to care for myself is to work out. Like today, I went on a 4-mile walk. It was beautiful outside in Atlanta. Went to a park, man. I walked, didn't have any headphones on, just listened to the birds and the wind and listened to the trees. And I walked and meditated, jogged a little bit, walked a little bit, and just, that. But working out is how I like to take care of myself.
Gotcha. And what is one action step you can take right now to either meet those people that you mentioned earlier or continue to further the brand in the magazine?
What I'm doing right now, get the word out, spreading the word to as many people as I can, getting on as many platforms as I can, letting people know about what it is that I'm doing, and being consistent with that. That's the most important thing, to being able to get it to the level we want to get it to. It's all about action, baby. It's keeping it going.
All about action.
Yeah.
There we go.
All about action. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about before we sign off?
Man, I would say to your audience, man, and anybody that's listening, just to believe, really, really, truly. You hear it all the time, and I know it sounds cliche because you hear so many people say it, but really believe in your dream. Believe in what it is that you want to do, and don't let anything stop you. If you see a need in the world and you have an idea that can make it better, go for it. Go for it with everything that you got. And the reality is that you're gonna have some tough times. You're gonna hit some walls. You're gonna get knocked down. You're gonna get kicked when you get knocked down. You're gonna have you're gonna want to quit. You're gonna want to say, "Oh man, I can't do it." All those things are gonna happen. But at the end of the day, you will always get the strength to get back up. And when you have that strength to get back up and keep fighting. Because when the dream is big enough, the facts don't count. And so that's what I think, that, with any dream, no matter what it is, teacher, preacher, doctor, lawyer, physician, artist, singer, whatever you want to do it. And don't worry about what other people think about your dream. It's your dream. If they understood it, it would be for them, not for you.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, what's the best way to contact you?
Instagram is the best way to reach me right now. Instagram is SF Dreams Big. Contact me on Instagram, DM me if you have any questions, thoughts, or ideas, or anything like that. Just want to give a shout out, something I posted. I'll respond to everything, so please do that. Or they can always call my number, which I believe you have, or I can give it to them right now. They can call me and hit me up if they have any questions or want to be able to get some success stacks or subscribe to the magazine. And then, of course, they can go to the website, which is YCHIAMAG.com. Stands for You Can Have It All Magazine.com.
Awesome. Well, there we go. If you guys were listening to this podcast and you loved what SF had to say, you want to be a part of the mission, part of the dream, make sure to connect with him on Instagram, get plugged in however you can. Thank you for listening to the show. SF, thank you for being on the show.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Timothy. I appreciate it, bro.
Sure. Yes, sir. I appreciate it. And like we always say, send this podcast to one or two people you know need to hear this message. And maybe they have some kids that they want to hear this message and get into contact with SF. So do that for those kids, for those parents, also for SF and for yourself, because it's a great feeling to help others. Shoot us a 5-star review on iTunes, and we're out.